If you're listening to this in the week before Christmas, I want you to know something right away. You are not behind, you are not failing, and you are not ruining the holidays. You're just tired. And today's episode is not about fixing you, it's about freeing you. Because if you've been carrying the weight of making everyone else happy while quietly falling apart inside, this conversation is for you.
Hey mama, welcome to Career Growth for Working Moms. If you're stuck in a job that doesn't fit or burning out trying to do it all, you're in the right place. I'm Shannon, a career coach and fellow working mom. Here, you'll get simple career strategies and strength-based leadership tips to help you grow with clarity and confidence. So grab your coffee or reheat it for the third time and let's do this.
All right, Mama, welcome back to the show. I want to say this gently but clearly. This week before Christmas, it's not the time to become a better version of yourself. It's the time to stop asking so much of yourself. Because what I see with working moms right now is this quiet pressure building. The pressure to show up perfectly at work, hold it together at home, keep traditions alive, manage emotions, keep everyone happy, and somehow still enjoy it. And that pressure, it's exhausting you more than the actual tasks. I can't tell you how many women I've talked to this week who've said some version of, I just need to get through Christmas. And that breaks my heart because the holidays were never to feel like something to survive. So today, we're not talking about productivity. We're not talking about boundaries again. We're not talking about goals. We're talking about relief, especially the beliefs that are draining you, the expectations you've silently accepted, and how to give yourself permission to not be everything for everyone. Because here's the truth. You were never meant to carry Christmas alone. All right, let's talk about the biggest holiday myth that are quietly burning working moms out and why it's time to let them go. Because so much of your exhaustion right now isn't coming from what you're doing. It's coming from what you believe you should be doing. And most of those beliefs, they're myths. They're inherited. They're outdated. And they are draining you. So let's name them and then release them. So myth number 1, if I don't do it, it won't get done right. Oof, this one hits hard. This belief sounds responsible, capable, even loving. But in reality, it turns you into the default everything. You become the planner, the reminder, the executor, the fixer, the backup plan. And the more competent you are, the more invisible the load becomes. So here's the truth no one says out loud. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you're the one who should do it. And here's even the harder truth. When you always step in, other people never step up. That doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop over-functioning. This season does not require perfection. It requires participation, and participation can come from more than just you. All right, myth number 2. A good mom makes the holidays magical. Let's lovingly call this one out. Somewhere along the way, we equated magic with effort. And now working moms feel like the holidays are a performance, one they're responsible for directing, producing, and starring in. But here's what I want you to hear. Your kids don't remember the magic you manufactured. They remember the moments you were present. They remember laughing, feeling safe, being seen, and being together. Not the perfectly wrapped gifts, not the matching outfits, not the elaborate traditions. And when you're exhausted, stressed, and overstimulated, even the magical moments feel heavy. Magic doesn't come from doing more. It comes from being there. And being there requires energy, not perfection. So myth number 3, I'll rest once things slow down. Mama, things are not going to slow down. January won't magically feel lighter. Work won't suddenly get quieter. Life won't pause and says, okay, now you can rest. If rest is conditional, it never happens. And here's what I see over and over with working moms. They delay rest until they're depleted and then wonder why they're resentful, numb, and disconnected. Rest is not a reward for finishing everything. Rest is a requirement for continuing. You don't wait to refuel until the tank is empty. You refuel because you want to keep going. Myth number 4. Everyone else is handling things better than I am. Comparison is brutal this time of year. I get it. You see smiling photos, festive houses, cheerful captions, perfect family moments, and your brain fills in the blanks. Why does this feel so hard for me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I enjoy this more? Let me say this clearly. You are seeing the highlights, not the emotional cost. For every mom you admire, she has her own version of overwhelm, her own breaking point, her own behind the scenes chaos. Struggling doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're human in a season that asks too much. Myth number 5. If I say no, I'm letting people down. This is the one that keeps women trapped. You say yes to avoid guilt, disappointment, conflict, or maybe even awkwardness. But here's what no one tells you. Every yes is cost you peace and quiet no to yourself. And when you repeatedly abandon yourself, resentment builds, not towards others, but towards the life you're living. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you honest. And honestly, it is far healthier than silent resentment. I want you to notice something though. Not one of these myths had anything to do with time management, organization, or even productivity. They're emotional myths, identity myths, expectation myths, which means the solution isn't more effort. It's permission. Permission to simplify, opt out, disappoint gently, choose peace, and redefine what enough looks like. So let's get real for a minute. Because knowing the myths is one thing, but what actually drains you is how those myths show up in the moment. Not in theory, but in real life. So I want to walk you through a few scenarios I see constantly with working moms this time of year, and I want you to imagine yourself inside them. No judgment, just awareness and choice. Scenario number 1. Can you take care of this? This one usually sounds harmless. A coworker, a family member, a partner, a school email. Can you just handle this? Can you just take the lead? Can you just make the decision? And because you're capable, because you're organized, because you've always done it, you say yes. But what's actually happening in that moment? You're not agreeing to a task. You're agreeing to ownership. Ownership of the follow-up, the timeline, the mental load, and the emotional responsibility. Here's the reframe I want you to practice. Instead of asking, can I do this? Ask yourself, do I need to own this? Sometimes the answer is yes, but often it's no. And the response doesn't need to be dramatic. Try this. I can help with part of it, but I can't take full ownership right now. That one sentence alone can cut your emotional load in half. So scenario number 2, the guilt spiral after saying no. Okay, this one is big. You finally say no. You finally protect your time. You finally choose yourself. And then the guilt hits. You replay the conversation. You wonder if you were rude. You worry about how it landed. You start justifying your decision in your head. And let me say this clearly. Guilt doesn't mean you did something wrong. It usually means you did something new. Guilt is a sign that you broke a pattern, not a moral code. When guilt shows up, don't argue with it. Just name it. This is discomfort from choosing myself. Then stop explaining yourself, even internally. You are not required to feel good immediately when you make a healthy choice. Sometimes peace comes after the discomfort. All right, scenario number 3 is being physically present but mentally gone. You're at dinner, a holiday event, or even at home with your kids. But your brain is replaying work, planning tomorrow, worrying about money, thinking about what you forgot, stressing about what's next. And then comes the shame. I should be more present. Why can't I just enjoy this? Mama, presence isn't a switch, it's a skill. And skills need gentleness. Instead of forcing yourself to be present, try this micro reset instead. Look around and name 3 things you can see, 1 thing you can hear, and 1 thing you can feel. That's it. No pressure, no performance. Presence comes from grounding, not from forcing joy. Scenario number 4, the silent resentment buildup. This one, it sneaks up on you. You're doing all the things, holding all the pieces, and no one is noticing. So you keep going, but resentment, it starts building under the surface. Resentment is almost always a sign of unspoken expectations. You're expecting help that hasn't been requested, appreciation that hasn't been voiced, support that hasn't been clarified. And the longer it stays unspoken, the heavier it gets. The fix isn't blame, it's clarity. So try this simple reset. I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, and I need to adjust how we're handling this. Not an accusation, not a meltdown, just honesty. Clear communication is a form of self-respect. All right, scenario number 5, the I'll deal with it after the holidays trap. This one, it's subtle and dangerous. You tell yourself, I'll rest later. I'll deal with this in January. I just need to push through. But here's the truth. Whatever you don't tend to now, you'll pay for later in energy, health, or burnout. The goal isn't to solve everything before Christmas. The goal is not to abandon yourself in the process. Even small check-ins matter. Even small boundaries matter. Even small moments of honesty matter. Okay, notice we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about planners. We didn't talk about hacks. We didn't talk about doing more. Because this season isn't about efficiency. It's about emotional leadership. So before we go, I want to slow us down for just a second. Not for a big exercise, not for journaling, just for honesty. If this episode felt like someone finally put words into what you've been carrying, that wasn't an accident. Because you are not failing the holidays. You're navigating an unrealistic load in a season that asks too much of working moms. And the most important thing I want you to walk away with today is this. You don't have to be everything for everyone in order to be a good mom, a good partner, or a good leader. You were never meant to carry Christmas alone. You were never meant to manage everyone's emotions. You were never meant to hold the weight of perfection. Somewhere along the way, we confuse love with self-sacrifice. And this season, it tends to bring that confusion to the surface. So let me say this clearly, and I want you to hear it, not just understand it. You are allowed to simplify. You are allowed to opt out. You are allowed to disappoint people gently. You are allowed to protect your energy. None of that makes you selfish. It makes you sustainable. And here's something else that matters, especially this close to Christmas. If you feel overwhelmed, snappy, numb, or exhausted, that doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It means you're human. Joy doesn't disappear because you're broken. Joy disappears when you're depleted, and depletion is not a character flaw. It's a signal. So as you move through the next few days, I want to offer you one simple question to come back to over and over again. What can I let be good enough today? Not perfect, not magical, just good enough. Because good enough leaves room for presence. Good enough leaves room for laughter. Good enough leaves room for you. Now, before we wrap up, I want to give you a tiny piece of homework. Not because you need more to do, but because this will actually lighten your load. Sometime today or tomorrow, answer this honestly. What am I still doing out of obligation, not desire, that I could release this week? Just one thing, that's it. Release one expectation, one task, one responsibility that isn't truly yours, and notice how your body responds. That relief you feel, that's alignment. I hope this episode felt like permission. permission to stop striving, permission to soften, permission to show up as yourself, not a holiday version of yourself. If this conversation helped you, would you share it with another working mom who might be silently drowning right now? Sometimes the greatest gift we give each other is simply feeling understood. And if you haven't taken the Fast Track Your Income in 90 Days quiz yet, this is such a beautiful time to do it, because understanding how you're wired helps you stop fighting yourself, especially in seasons like this. And finally, if you've been thinking about leaving a review, thank you. Your words help this show reach women who need these conversations more than you know. All right, Mama, take care of yourself this week. Not as a reward, not if you earn it, but because you matter. I'll see you next time.
Mama, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share it with a friend who's stuck in her career but doesn't want to sacrifice her family to grow? Also, please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It seriously lights me up to know this show is helping you navigate burnout, find clarity, and lead with confidence. All right, time to shut down my laptop and pretend I'm not hiding from folding that laundry. I'll meet you back here soon for another episode of Career Growth for Working Moms. You've got this.